So we will go ahead and start the recording. I think we've probably still got a few more people coming in, but good morning, Happy New Year. Seems like I haven't seen you guys in forever, at least on Zoom. I've seen you all in person, but not necessarily in Zoom. So Mike's not going to talk today. He's homesick with no voice. Um, yeah, so you can always chat if you need us, Mike. Devin, good morning. Hi, Happy New Year to you. So kind of the theme today is New Year, doing things different, resolutions, words of the year, word of the year, what you're going to do differently, if you've done anything differently. Didn't have you know, my own specific topic, but I thought we could at least chat about what your thoughts are in 2026, what the pundits are saying, if we believe what they're saying about the market. So a lot of different things we can chat about, but let's start with, in fact, let me look at exactly what my topic was. What did I say? So we can follow that. So how is your new year starting off? Are you making any changes, any resolutions? Okay. So how's your new year starting off? We'll start off with that. Oh, Pam, cute hair. I like your haircut.
I'm trying to fix am I muted or unmuted?
You're unmuted. You're fine.
Oh, good. Um, I might have to leave because the tree guy is coming today and I'm getting a new laundry room door as well.
Oh,
So
fun.
I'm starting off getting some projects done.
That's my neighbors have tree guys all over. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. It's very noisy right now. I always like that noise though.
Yeah.
Tree
It,
work is a good noise.
it
Um, so starting off with projects for yourself. Who else? What else are you guys starting off with this year?
I'm right there with Pam. We ran into each other at Home Depot the other day.
yeah, I've
Home
got a new
projects?
listing on,
Yeah.
I've got a new listing coming Wednesday. Um, and I've kind of charted up, um, looks like I'll have I've kind of got a commitment for about 7 listings. So I'm going to spread them out a little bit. So I'm not going to do a lot of things to market myself. I'm mostly contacting people that I know and like that I want to work with.
Okay, but you just said something that it kind of cracks me up, but I kind of have total respect. I don't know if any of you caught it. I have 7 listings coming up, but I'm going to spread them out.
Yeah, I caught that.
That's awesome, Pam. You are determining when those listings are going to come on the market.
I'm going to be 70 in July, and I something really hit me recently, and I realized that I only have so many bottles of time, and so I want to manage those in a way more meaningful to me. And um, it's not about wealth anymore; it's about my health.
I love it. How do you manage spreading them out? How do you just take charge? How does that work?
I just tell them when I have the time available and where I'm in my calendar.
You're the best. I love
Well,
it.
now there's another spin on that
Yeah.
she, of all people, can get away with, and that is she is an experienced consultant. She knows the market, she knows her clients, she knows their properties. She can advise them when the optimal time for their situation, their home, their market, their location, when's an optimal time for them to go on the market. And she can do it with integrity. And that just can't happen unless you have time in the business.
And on the client's part, it means full and utmost trust. They
Exactly.
trust you to tell them to do what they're
Exactly.
supposed to do when they're supposed to do it. So
That's
kudos to you, Pam.
Well,
earned integrity.
I think the one thing too is that if you put it to them, it's like, well, this way, you won't have to do do all the list of stuff that I want you to do to get it ready right now. You can wait till after you file your taxes.
And then start working on your list. Hey,
Priorities.
Janet. Hi, Shell. Hi, Angie. Good morning.
Good morning.
So Pammy, thank you for starting us off with that. I love it.
Okay, you're
Who
welcome.
else? What do you got going to start the year?
I'm pretty busy too. I've been on several listing appointments. There are people that are ready to do something this year. I think the pundits, as you say, are expressing some pretty optimistic results for the
Mhm.
year. It's a good time for people to take advantage of that. So, stay busy, get out there, keep talking to people.
So Larry, tell me how many listings are on the market in Lake of the Pines? I heard this number the other day and it floored me.
I looked the other day, there were like, well, actually, I was looking at a specific price range. There was like seven below 700,000.
Yeah.
There's probably 10 or 12. I didn't check the whole market.
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
So that's a good thing to be telling your clients right now. I'm not pointing at you, Larry. Everybody, look at the inventory in the market right now and then reach out to your clients. It's a good time to let them know this is going to be a good year because our inventory is so low. So even if you were on last year and couldn't sell it, get on next week. Don't wait till March or April. Get on next week when the inventory is low because if a buyer's out there, they only have so much to choose from. They might just choose your listing.
So I have some information about that. You know, this report that we can get it every month or every quarter. So I wanted to put together some information for a seller. And I went on the our association website and they hadn't updated it since July. So
Oh, yikes.
I called and asked for current information and they updated each month.
Good.
And I printed out the quarters, and for December, and I forget was how many 400 and something at the end of each quarter, except for December, they only said 86 homes on the market. So I emailed Kathy and said this has got to be wrong. Um, so the message is don't use if you're going to use this for information for pricing or whatever, don't believe it. It's wrong right now.
So that is the statistical report that when Lisa gets it from the association, she
Yeah.
emails it to us, but like Dee said, we haven't received it. It's pretty easy to run stats.
I did, and I sent
Yeah.
it to Kathy. I said, "This is wrong. This is what I get."
Thank you for doing that. I just did my year-end stats, and they were pretty interesting numbers out there. Um, High percentage of our sales are done from out of area agents. No surprise there, right?
Mhm.
So we've got to take that market back, you guys. It's really scary how many of our listings and buyer reps are from out of the area. In fact, I have the numbers are in my backpack right or my briefcase right here. But anyway, just keep an eye on that and start talking to your clients about the concerns of people that don't know what they're doing in our community. I mean, that's not trashing other agents. It's the truth. It's the reality. They're not part of our community. Here is my report right now. And it looks like a non-MLS out of area on the transaction side, $34 million worth of listings from out of area, non-MLS. So a lot of the others are out of area. They just joined our MLS for a moment just to get access. So if we did 34 million of people that weren't even a part of our MLS, how many of these other offices in the statistics are actually not local? And huge percentage. We need to take that back. I mean, Realty One Group, Remax of Fair Oaks, Real Broker, Christie's International, yeah, we Allison James, Core. We got to get rid of those, you guys. Let's start taking it back.
I look at those too, and a lot of times they have the wrong information, wrong directions, wrong information, missing information, things that are vital to us making decisions. And I think that their properties stay on the market longer and have more, back on the market type of statuses.
Yeah, and those that are repping buyers certainly don't understand our insurance needs here. And
Mhm.
we had who was it one of you the other day that has a shoot, who's the mortgage with? Um, Not Redfin. Who's the other one that we used to get leads through, Dave?
Rocket,
Who is it?
Rocket
Rocket.
Mortgage.
Yeah, one of you was dealing with a buyer already with Rocket. Was it one of you on the call? No. Uh, oh, it was Devin. Yeah, Devin. Talk about that. That was crazy.
Was this, oh yeah, in regards
How
to,
you've it's screwing up your closing because there's no communication and they don't know what they're
yeah,
doing.
I really, been working with this gal for a while. She's a personal friend of the family, and I really was trying to steer her a little bit into using a more local, but she was all set up and all good with Rocket, so we went for it, and they we negotiated a few credits up front, and then we went through our inspection period, and they told her that we could ask for more, and I was like, wait, I thought we reached the cap. I went through conversations with them, and they said, oh no, you can ask for this specific amount more. And we did that, and the seller agreed, and so we get to closing the day before, and they said, "Oh no, you can't use that." And so, and then they directed me to go ahead and to negotiate that credit outside of the sale. And so I was like, "Whoa, I don't." I had to call Diane because I was like, I don't know, that doesn't seem right to me. But I did get them to confirm it in an email. And we did do that. We negotiated outside a sale, which it still makes me nervous. We closed on Friday, and
Yeah,
that check is in transit at the moment. So I feel like we just kind of flung it out there and we're hoping, but it felt a little crazy. But yes, Rocket, that's the second time I've been working with Rocket, and right at close, there's been like a fire that has to get put out.
So the reason I
is
asked you to talk about that was so we could
that
have a story. We need to let our clients know when they're insistent on using an out of area, whether it's an agent or a loan officer, what happens or what could happen in these stories. And I think that's significant.
Mhm. Agreed. I
I would
totally agree.
I wouldn't want my buyer to use an out of area um, title company. And I've countered it. And I had that situation where the seller countered back and said, no, we want to use our agent in Sacramento County. And I think I talked to you about it because RESPA says that if the seller insists on choosing the title company as a condition of the sale, then they pay the title fees.
Only if it's a government sponsored mortgage. RESPA only works if it's an all cash deal that doesn't apply.
Got it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of nuances to that as well. If a buyer agrees, then CAR says, well, the buyer agreed, and then you'd have to get into, well, we were coerced into agreeing. There's a lot of I mean, it was cut and dried 10 years ago. It's not now. It would be really hard to make that argument today. But I will tell you that one of our other agents had pre-opened an escrow. The seller was a trust. It was very convoluted. So her client pre-opened an escrow with someone down the hill, Sacramento. Buyer came in, asked for placer title. Seller agreed to the whole contract, and then a few days later said, wait, I want to use my escrow officer down in so and so. So our agent called that escrow officer and she said, we were hoping to get it back to you, but the buyer's already chosen this particular escrow. Well, escrow company locally. Well, the escrow agent who had the pre-opened escrow down the hill told our agent, well, then your seller's going to be charged for all the work I've already done. And I
how
thought
much
that was
was that?
interest. I thought that was interesting. So she came to me and I said, I mean, they have the prerogative to do that, right? It actually says right in their prelim, we may charge you for doing this. I said, but that would just be a stupid thing to do. And she backed off the next day when the buyer's agent said, no, we're going to placer title. So she called the escrow officer and they said, no, we're not going to charge you. We'll cancel it. But she postured that all the work she had done, she was going to be charging our client for that work. And so be careful of that, you guys. Again, that's an out of area escrow officer. And why would we ever use her again after making a statement like that? I thought it was just kind of silly.
Can you imagine if we all did that?
Yeah. I mean, she shot herself in the foot, right? Because here I'm talking about it to, 12, 13 of you guys too. So I didn't give you her name, but
And say you can't tell us who it was.
oh, I could offline, I could, but
Not recorded.
yeah, not that we're being recorded. So who else has something else going on the
guys,
first of the year?
so
Nobody?
Donna, is that can only charge she could only charge $400 for the prelim, or she's gonna submit a bill?
Well, she didn't do either of those. She was posturing to our agent to try and keep the escrow, and she told our agent that she had done all the work and there was going to be fees for it. And I said, "Well, find out how much the fees are." So when she specifically asked what the fees were, the escrow officer, "Never mind, we're good. We're done." I did the same thing with an NHD report the other day. I got one that said, your NHD report is open but hasn't closed to us. Please let us know who to bill. I was like, well, the escrow canceled, but I thought it was kind of weird. They said, please let us know who to bill, kind of assuming that we were going to pay that NHD fee and the one the buyer chose. So just be cautious out there. Lori, what do you have going on?
Well, that's one reason why I hardly ever pre-open escrows, because I've been in a situation kind of like that before. I'm also a little bit sick, Mike, so
no.
hey. I feel fine, but I sound like I smoke. Anyway. That, and then I also had a buyer coming up from San Diego and called me, signed a BRBC, coming up in a couple weekends, wanted me to preview a property. I did, FaceTimed them, videoed it, yada yada, then called me a couple days later. Hey, thanks. We're going to do this on our own. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, good luck with that, because most sellers won't accept offer from an unrepresented buyer. So I did, and he said, "Oh, okay. Well, we might call you back." So anyway, I
So
feel
keep
like
an eye on that in case he goes to the listing agent and the listing agent doesn't ask if he has a BRBC.
Well, I talked to the listing agent before, and apparently he had called the listing agent before he called me. So I'm going to follow up with the listing agent and let him know that that's what, and that I do have a BRBC just for that property.
Good.
So we'll see.
Good. So apparently they didn't read the fine print.
Yeah. And, I feel like we might get some of those. That are, yeah, it was my first time getting that and having them call, and I feel like my conversation about the BRBCs are pretty smooth, and I haven't had any kickback on those. I like them. It usually saves me from things like this, but I got caught up, I guess. So I have a couple listings coming, but January, February are typically my slow times. Thank you.
Hi, Craig. Bye, Craig.
Craig says hi and bye. January, February are typically my slow months, and that's when I prep everybody to, just get ready. If somebody's ready, obviously I want it on the market sooner than everybody else in spring, so to speak. But it's usually my me time, prepping myself for the year and getting, stuff that's kind of gone to the wayside, like this disaster over here. So anyway, that's usually what I focus on is, implementing my organization to be ready for a busy year, which I think it's going to be a busy year. So
yeah, good for you. I actually love that idea. If you're not actually working listings or buyers right now, you've got to be working something, right? So work yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And my word of the year is move. whether it's moving my body or moving you or your house.
I like that.
Yeah, I like
Move.
it too, Laura.
Thank you.
Anyone else do a word of the year?
I do.
What is it?
Presents. Not in gifts, but just to be
I like the presents.
Just to
I want
be-
presents.
just to be present in the moment, because a whole day will go by and I go, oh, I went for a walk. I don't remember how beautiful it was. And that sunset, I didn't get a chance to run out there and see it. So just presence, just be aware of every minute, and every minute counts.
I love that. Mike's is focus. Clearly, we're not going to get a whole paragraph on that.
Mine's
Can't type
succeed.
fast enough. Can't talk. Focus is a good one.
I can talk a little bit. I'm just trying to save my voice. But yeah, this year it's just focus. I feel like the first year I was scattered. I was everywhere because I was trying everything. I was, I mean, that's, I guess, the plight of a first year agent is you don't know what you're doing, so you do everything.
Yep.
But
So you know what works, Mike?
no, tell me, please.
No, I mean, you have to do it all. And then you look back and you say, well, that didn't work. I'm not doing that again. You know, I mean, I did 1,200 postcards, in a month. And I'm thinking, well, getting, calls back. Well, that's too much work for that, so I'm not doing that again. So you figure out what works, and then those are the things you go back to.
Build on your success.
Yeah, well, I was talking to Paul the other day,
Yeah.
and Paul told me to actually, and Rachel actually told me basically focus on my referral network. And so that's kind of what I'm going towards is my referral network and the VA stuff. So that's this year's focus.
I like that. That's a good one. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else do a word or what's that?
I was going to just say Pam Morey and Greg Monty and myself and John Daly, we all got involved in CRS because it's an education and it's also a network of professionals. And I actually got a phone call this morning from Carson. She's sending me a listing referral to Grass Valley through the CRS network. So, those relationships work as well.
And what's funny about that, Pam, is that's an old school business. I mean, CRS is. They had a directory and you would find an agent through a directory. And I'm obviously now it's online, but that started what, 50, 60 years ago?
Desk. I said, I have a paper one on my desk if you need to look up seasoned agents in areas.
So Pam, how has the membership changed over the decades? Is it still the same amount?
It's $200 a year, and so some people think it's worth it and some people don't. But it's probably a lower membership now, but they do a lot of complimentary webinars about interesting topics, and I usually get a nugget or two out of it. So to me, I think it's worth it. I'm a little bit of an education junkie, so that's kind of how I keep up on stuff.
I love that, and I love the bits and pieces you share with us. So Pam is kind of a CAR education junkie too. She'll actually tell me when she's gone to different CAR classes or whatever they might be. So, I mean, there's a gazillion there for us to learn, which reminds me, we're going to be doing forms next Tuesday, is it? We're going to go over the updated forms. Let me make sure it's next. Yep. Tuesday the 20th.
I'm excited to see what you guys think of the RAD form.
Yeah, you don't want to know. The reason I've been holding off is I'm not real happy with it, but there's nothing I can do about it.
The what forms?
The RAD. It's
the realtor
acknowledgement.
Disclosure
Yeah, it's something we have to start using. So
Well,
if you have a question about it between now and then, let me know. But it only has to do, we only have to use it if we're dealing with incoming or outgoing referrals outside of our company. So what's Paul Smith's word? Oh, I like that. Paul Smith, what's your word?
So my word is succeed, and it's back to the little saying we were talking about, how many people do I have to help succeed before I can succeed? When Lori was talking about the BRBC, I just wanted to throw something out there. This meeting that me, Mike, Josh, and Rachel have been going to on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock, that's one of the things we're talking about next week. And basically what we do is we role play, um, somebody trying to get somebody to sign that, or explaining what they're doing when they sign it. And we do an AI role play. We go around the room and we don't stop until everybody's done talking. But it's really been helpful, I think. I think Mike likes it. But if anybody wanted to go to that, I call it the Mike and Josh show, but it's on Tuesdays at 10. But just to go back to what we were talking about, what we're doing this year, I've been doing a lot of open house. Well, I do one open house a week, usually every Saturday. I did Sunday this week. Put it out for 2 hours, but I've been averaging over 5 people in a 2 hour period at every open house. I had one in Eschaton on Starling on Sunday, and I had about 10 groups come through, and three of them actually need to sell their house. So it was really a good open house. So
That is,
that's
that's
all.
amazing that we can
yeah,
still do open houses and still obtain buyers and sellers. So there's so much business still available to be done. I love how proactive you're being.
yeah, it's
I
back
think
to the old school.
I
Yeah.
think too with the open houses is that that kind of relates to the BRBCs is that some buyers are resistant of signing those and they know that they don't really have to sign those. They have to sign something, but they're not committing themselves to an agent, so to speak. So I think that's where you're getting a lot more people coming to open houses because they can just freely go without without committing to an agent or bothering an agent or so
But what's nice about it is you can build the rapport face to face instead of online or over the telephone. I mean, what better way to obtain a client than to look them in the eye and say, "Hey, this is what I do," and the fact that you're there working for the seller as well. That's, a lot of kudos to you for that. So I think that's great. Thanks, Paul, for sharing that.
Yeah, something I've been doing at my open houses though is I have the regular sign-in sheet, for the open house one, and then I also bring, um, can't remember the name, the acronym, but it's the one where you can fill out 3 properties.
PSRA, yeah.
So I try to get them to fill out the PSRA first, and I give them the option. I said, if you want to work with me, like at this open house, there's 4 listings in Eschaton right now. So I listed those 4 properties. And, I said, if you want me to walk around with you, am I still there? And
Yeah,
still, help you out. You can sign this one. If you want to walk through yourself, you can sign the other one. And it seems to be working fairly well.
I like that. If you
Paul,
want to just be on your own, sign this. If you want me to
Yep.
answer any questions, sign this one.
Paul,
Yep.
did you notice that form was changed last month?
I did not.
Yeah, I was filling one out this weekend, and on the back page it says that when you go to an open house, you may be asked to show your representation agreement to that agent holding the open house.
Interesting, because it really has nothing to do with us. I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I think that's for the ones that we question and say, hey, do you have a buyer rep agreement? Those are the ones that are really being sticklers and saying, hey, I'm sticking by the law. I'm not going to let you see this how, I mean, let you see it with me, and I'm not going to answer your questions if you have representation from someone else.
Yeah,
I
but I
would,
mean,
yeah.
you're kind of showing your hand though, because you're disclosing or showing what the commission is.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Who else has got things going
Hey, guys.
on? Shell. Go ahead, Shell.
I'm going to jump in here. I apologize. My internet's down and my phone's being glitchy, so I wanted to go ahead and get a rate quote before
Yeah.
glitches again. Could I
Okay.
interject real quick? So
Yes.
you guys, rates are really looking good. Conventional as low as 5.5. So that's a big
Ooh,
drop,
whoa.
depending on credit score, down payment points. Kind of the general range, 5.5 to 5 7/8. FHA down to 5 3/8 now. So that's really great. And everybody's always steering clear of FHA, but for the right client, it's a really nice entry level loan. So that's really good news to share with your clients.
That is really good news. You should call Alexis and John. They need to refi.
Yeah, I've got several people on the
Yeah, I
list I need to
bet.
reach out to for sure. Yeah.
Hey,
And then there is
Sherry.
some talk about the Fannie and Freddie needing to buy some more, about 200 billion in mortgage-backed securities, which could potentially lower rates, but it's kind of a confusing situation. It's not all about buying those securities. It affects, the bonds and stocks and the gold market. And so we're keeping an eye on that.
Okay.
Hey,
Larry had a
Larry,
question
Sherry.
did
for
you
you.
say something?
Yeah, on the FHA loans, is the mortgage insurance still the life of the loan on FHAs?
Yes,
Okay.
correct. Yeah,
And is
that's the
mortgage
one
insurance in
feature that
place
we don't.
regardless of the down payment?
Yes, on FHA, that is correct.
Okay. So you couldn't do an 80% loan to value and have no mortgage insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
But for those clients that have low credit scores or if their debt ratios are high, they're going to get a great rate, which is going to help offset that mortgage insurance cost.
And get them into a home they might otherwise not get into.
Right. And just refinance later, assuming that the market's favorable. Yeah.
Good point. So is anyone starting their year off with a business plan that's revamping their business style altogether? I mean, Mike made a comment about I'm going to focus on what I think should work for me and what's worked in the last year. But is anyone saying, I'm throwing it all out there and I'm going to start something new this year? No?
I did.
A little bit. A
Okay,
little.
Paul, elaborate.
My business plan really revolves all around time blocking, and it's kind of interesting way I lay it out, but every 30 minutes or every hour of every day, I have something I have to do. Not, it's not that I can't move it around, but it's really, really helped me this year already.
In
And
what way?
well, I have topics for every day. So, like, it might be social media, it might be work with buyers, work with sellers, and I usually block about 2 hours a day to do that. But the issue I was having last year that I realized was I was coming to work and I'd sit there and think of what I should do that day. And then, after I finish one thing, I'm doing it again with the next project, but I don't do that at all right now. I mean, it's hard for me to get through everything. And if I don't, I move it to the next day or somewhere throughout the week. But I mean, it's been amazing for me. It's really got me focused.
So in other words, you're operating your own business.
Yeah, yeah. But
And and you're paying yourself a salary that you're worth paying.
I actually thought about doing the salary thing, but quite honestly, we're so frugal anyway that I really don't need to do that. I mean, I don't just go out and buy stuff. But one of the things though I noticed at this open house, I don't mean to keep going back to that, but somebody mentioned to me that the HOA dues in Escatan are about 750 a month. But one of the owners told me that's actually includes their homeowner's insurance and fire
Yes.
insurance.
Yeah.
So when
And
you're
their
looking,
roof and their exterior paint.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at any condo complex or anything like that, all of a sudden it's a bargain just because of the homeowner's insurance.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
agree with that.
yeah.
Rachel.
Hello.
Hi. Good morning.
Morning. I think actually like diversifying my approach. I don't know, maybe honing would be better, kind of like um Paul was saying. But, I think focusing on the things definitely like a percentage wise, like 50% of my time being on the things that have worked for me and have been proven success, and then maybe 50% diversifying more, exploring those other things that could work for me. I guess that's what I'm trying to do different
And
this.
you could time block that as well. I mean, if
And
you,
I've been doing some time blocking, which
yes.
is cool. I'm not great at it all the time, but I try to like hone it back when I notice myself straying. Basically with the holidays primarily. But yeah, that's kind of yeah, what I'm trying.
What I liked what Paul said, and it's accountability to himself is, I time block this every day. If I don't get to all the things I need to do, then I've got to do it the next day. That's accountability. And that's what we need in our industry because there's so much apathy within ourselves. I mean, it's so easy to say, oh, it's beautiful outside. I need to go for a hike and forget about work today. I'll do it tomorrow. And then things keep getting put off. But, if you need to make a living, you need to make a mortgage payment. That's what we've got to do. We've got to be accountable to ourselves. Lori, did you say you were doing some big changes this year? No?
Well, I mean, I guess a little bit. I kind of Craig kind of came in and we're working more together. So we're gonna do more commercial. I've dabbled in it a little bit, but now that he's in it with me, so we'll be we have a couple buyers out there looking for bigger commercial properties. So that's what he does for us anyway. It's not been something that I've wanted to jump in with 2 feet. So, having us partner up together on that is either going to be great or not.
It'll be great because you've got your other business still, right?
Yeah, exactly. It'll be great. And he's been super helpful. Even when I was busy with just my stuff, he, jumped right in and was super helpful on that side too. So it'll be great. But Rachel, you have 3 words that I heard you say multiple times that you could use as your word of the year. You have honing, you have diversify, and you have focus. All 3 of those you could.
Total beginner. Oops, sorry. Sorry, my computer just went off. Okay.
Anyway, that's it.
Say it again. It was honing, diversify, and what else?
Diversify, and focus. Those were her 3 things that she kept saying multiple times. So she's got her.
Well, as a young mother, I think multitask is a big one for her.
Yeah. Although some people say multitasking means you're only giving a little bit of attention in many places instead of all your attention in one. But as women, I think we do tend to multitask. Just gonna put that out there.
Right.
Who else? Let's see, there's a chat. Okay, we've got Paul's word, we've got Mike and Rachel. Anybody else, do you put a word together for your year or a phrase or a sentiment? Angie, I'll bet you do, but you just went off screen. Nobody else? Amanda?
I mean, mine's kind of like what Mike's was too, just to focus, but I'm still in my first year and I'm still like going in all different directions. So.
Don't think that that's abnormal, Amanda. I mean, Mike, you can probably nod your head, and Rachel and Devin. I think you find your niche or niche, however you want to say the word. It takes time. I mean, Mike and I just had this conversation. Yeah, it's so easy to do, right, Mike? It's easy. Squirrel. It takes time. And I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, you got to have a year's savings or you got to have somebody else who can help you support yourself. This business is not one. If Mike Ferry would say it's untrue, Mike Ferry would say you can make as much money as you want, depends on how hard you want to work. Yes and no. I still think that the first couple of years you're still developing yourself, and it's going to take a bit of time before you figure it out and start having regular paychecks. And maybe I'm a bad coach for saying that. But I guess if you made 50 calls a day every single day, then of course you could have a pretty standard database and escrows and 3 closings a month. But I just don't know if that's realistic for a lot of people. Any guidelines anybody wants to share with Amanda so it's not so squirrely the first year?
Well, I look back to my beginnings, and I knew that I would have a set amount of expenses every month, and I wanted to work like I was still getting paid. So when I wasn't getting paid, I would cash advance myself, and I would still take my interest on my credit card and deduct it as a business expense, because I said, look, my money comes and goes and ebbs and flows. And, the whole reason that I have this, um, line of credit is to cash advance when I can't pay, because I want to pay on time. I want my credit to be good. So, having somebody, either having the savings or having a line of credit, or having somebody in your family that can support you for your means, but you just keep going to work anyway every day. You don't like work and then not work. And
Yep.
anyway,
I would say, I mean, my first few years in the business, it was, I mean, granted, this was the 80s, but it was open houses and it was cold calling and it was talking to every person I had ever met to let them know I was in the business. And one of my coaches at the time said something about you should go through 1,000 business cards a year. If you're not doing your job. Clearly, that's a little different today because we don't use business cards as much as we used to. But that tells me that you have to talk to 1,000 people a year somehow, some way. You've got to give them your information, whether it's a V card or a business card or a phone call or a text or something. So, I mean, we're in the people business. We've got to be peopling every single day. Mike.
Back in the day, we called those touches.
Yeah.
A literal touch, but a connection. You have to cross off certain number of connections with a certain number of people every single day. You got to show up and be working.
Yeah. And to be honest with you guys, it's easier now than it was 30 something years ago because we didn't have email. We didn't have, I mean, cell phones, they were just coming out when I got in the business in 88. We didn't have all that stuff. So it had to be a phone call or a face to face. Did a lot of driving of neighborhoods back then. So, Mike, what were you going to say?
So we went to a neighbor's 60th birthday party on Saturday, and I handed out, and not, I wasn't like advertising or anything like that. It was just that people knew that I was in real estate. So that was naturally where the conversations kind of gravitated to. And I handed out 4 business cards, and I have I'm calling somebody's neighbor that I met there today.
Are you
And
waiting to talk to me?
no.
Okay.
I'm not waiting, Pam. Are you?
No. The tree guy's here.
But it seems like it took that first year for everybody to kind of know that I was in real estate. My sphere, my neighbors, um, sorry, sore throat. But it was like now it's kind of, I don't want to say autopilot, but you can kind of tell that the momentum is starting, I guess. And I'm still working hard, but it's just that momentum's there, I guess, is what all that I'm saying.
Well, and I love it because you want to talk about your business. It's who was I just talking? I think it was Shelley. We had a conversation the other day about how social real estate is. It's not just what we do for a living, it's a lifestyle. Real estate can't just be that we go to work and do our business and then come home and we're done. That's not real estate at all. Real estate is our spouses or significant other or children or parents have our cards with them and they also support us. They're our soldiers. So if you don't have that support system and those people helping you to reach your goals, it's going to be difficult to do. We had an agent years ago. She actually passed away at a fairly young age, very sad. But she and I sat down. She said, I just am not getting traction after a couple years. And her husband had a very visible job. And I said, well, what does he think about it? Does he talk to you about your business or give you your card out? She goes, oh, he hates my business. I said, you're doomed to failure. I hate to say that, but if your husband is not supporting you in your business, you're not going to make it in the business because it's a social business. It's our lifestyle. So the fact that you are having those conversations, Mike, it's fabulous. And people trust you and your neighbors are introducing you. And I love that. That's the way we need to do our business.
Yeah, it's definitely knowing what's out there also. So Lori, I was actually trying to pitch Charlie's Cafe to the caterer, and we had that conversation because he's looking for a spot. So
To who? I'm sorry.
it was to the caterer
Oh, the
of
caterer.
this party.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's, we started talking and I got his card. And anyways, it's just knowing what's out there and how I can help basically.
Yeah. Yep, that's what we do. I was talking to Amanda the other day about the real estate report that the Ninja refers to from the Ninja business workshop last week. And real estate report is essentially just knowing your numbers, knowing how many listings, how many sales have gone on in a neighborhood, knowing the median price, the average price, just knowing our market. So when we are having these social conversations like Mike just did, and someone says, well, gosh, how much does a house cost in Alta Sierra? Mike can just pop off and say, hey, the average price is $520,000 in Alta Sierra, and you're an expert now, and they're going to remember that. So that's the real estate report.
Yeah, we have to stay in touch with our market because we're always, you can stand in line at the grocery store and if you have your badge on, someone's going to say, how's the market today?
Yeah.
And you need to be able to answer that. Also, to be aware of what's going on in town with new things that supervisors are voting on, ADUs are a hot button. There's construction projects going on in town. People are going to say, what's going on over there? Just be aware of what's going on in the county.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, especially, fire wise and
Fire
insurance wise and all the things that are hot button topics right now. That's what we should be doing in our spare time, if we have spare time, just learning, educating. Paul Smith.
So when I'm going on a listing appointment, which I have gone on a few this year, or last year and this year, before I go, I always go to ChatGPT and I say, how's the market in Nevada City? And have a conversation with it. And you'd be amazed what happens. I mean, it just gets you on top of it so fast. And it's so
Well,
easy.
and then you can hear what your clients might be hearing too.
I role play it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So if you're getting information and Chat GPT is not always correct,
No, it's
maybe
not.
you
You're right.
Chat GPT that, you hear what it says, and then when your client says, well, I heard this and this, you can say, well, actually, I heard that too, but here's the reality. And then you're the expert, not the computer.
But even with ChatGPT, you can, like I'll say that doesn't sound quite right. And then it'll say, oh, yeah, you're right. And then it gives you something else.
You are
But
not so
it's so
smart,
quick and
Mr.
easy.
Computer.
Just, like last minute or when you're driving there or it's just, God, it just amazes me how easy it is to do those things.
I like that. That's good information. Anybody else? Any more words of wisdom to start the year, to any changes, anything anybody wants to chat about before we get offline?
This is a little bit off the beaten track, but I was wondering if anybody knows what's going on, what's being developed there on Whispering Pines, down at the bottom of Whispering Pines.
Yeah, that's the window shop. The high-end windows. I want to say Zara. It's not Zara.
Oh, okay.
Come on, help me out, guys.
Anderson?
No, they're up at the airport now. He owns a big property out on the ridge. Anyway, it's a custom window and door guy.
Oh,
And he very, very wealthy, very high end. My neighbor's son works for him, and we were cracking up because she said, not the kind of windows I could ever afford to buy. So apparently it's high end and it's a national, not just local company. They sell everywhere. If I remember their name, it'll come to me. I'll let you know. It's pretty
not
incredible, the
Pella, is
size
it?
of the facility, though. It's huge.
It's not Pella.
Nope. It's a local guy. It'll come to me in the middle of the night.
Also, I I was curious. I looked up Lake of the Pines, 9 houses on the market in Lake of the Pines.
The whole lake?
I just put in the search area residential, Lake of the Pines, and it came up 9.
Wow, that's nuts.
Lake Wildwood is 24, and Nevada County is 245.
And what did the association say, Dee? It was like 80?
68.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I came up with, 245. Yeah.
It's Jada Windows, Jada. Anyone heard of Jada? I hear they're an amazing employer and they love to help local kids out. So it's Jada going up there. Okay, well, good stuff today. I wasn't sure how much we'd have to talk about. Any other topics you want to touch on, just shoot those over to me and I'll prepare them for our next meeting. Otherwise, again, a week from tomorrow, forums meetings, talking about the new RAD forum, really important stuff. And in the meantime, have a lovely week.
Yeah.
Feel better, Mike and Lori, and see y'all soon.
So,
Bye. Ciao.
this is some nice.